An alien ambassador shook my hand. Now she's pregnant, guess who's a dad? Sci-Fi HFY Story. The hall was silent in a way no human place had ever been silent before. Hundreds of people sat in their seats, yet not a single cough or whisper could be heard. Cameras floated in the air, recording everything, sending the moment to every screen on Earth. This was the first official meeting between humanity and a species from beyond the stars. Noah stood near the center of the hall, his hands folded in front of him. He was not a soldier. He was not a hero. He was chosen because he stayed calm when others panicked, because he spoke plainly, and because he listened more than he talked. His suit felt too tight around his neck, and his heart beat faster than he wanted it to. Across the room, the doors opened without a sound. The alien delegation entered slowly. Their movements were smooth, careful, as if each step had been planned long ago. At the front walked Ambassador Luma. She was tall, taller than any human in the room, with long limbs and skin that reflected light like polished stone. Soft lines of color moved faintly beneath her skin, shifting with her breath. Her eyes were large and dark, watching everything at once. This was the species that had crossed stars to reach Earth. They called themselves the Virelians. Noah felt every eye turn toward him. This was his moment, the simple act that would mark the beginning of something new. He stepped forward. Luma stopped a short distance away. For a long second they only looked at each other. Noah reminded himself to breathe. He raised his right hand, palm open, the gesture practiced 1,000 times. "Welcome to Earth," he said. Luma tilted her head slightly, studying the hand. Her translators processed the words, but the gesture itself was something else. Her people did not greet this way. Still, she had been briefed. She lifted her own hand, long fingers slightly cool as they touched his. Their hands met. The moment was brief, no more than a heartbeat. But Noah felt a strange warmth spread up his arm, like standing too close to a fire. Luma stiffened. Her eyes widened just a little, but enough that Noah noticed. The colors beneath her skin flared once, bright and sudden, then faded. She released his hand. The hall remained silent. Luma straightened and spoke in a calm, even tone. She delivered formal greetings, spoke of peace, of shared futures, of careful observation. The crowd listened, but Noah barely heard her words. His arm still tingled, a faint buzzing under the skin. He told himself it was nerves. When the speeches ended, the meeting moved into private sessions. Noah was escorted away by security, given water, asked if he felt unwell. He answered honestly. He felt fine, just tired. Across the complex, Luma walked with her attendants through smooth white corridors. The moment her guards could no longer see her face clearly, her calm expression cracked. Something was wrong. Her chest felt tight. Her internal senses, always precise, always obedient, were sending conflicting signals. Her body temperature had risen slightly. Her energy cycle was unstable. She stopped. "Medical," she said quietly. Within minutes, she was lying on a diagnostic platform aboard her ship. Soft light passed over her body, scanning layers that human science could not yet understand. Symbols filled the air above her, shifting rapidly. The ship's medical intelligence paused. Then it paused again. Luma sat up slowly. "Explain," she said. The medical system hesitated, something it almost never did. "Ambassador," it replied, "there is evidence of internal cellular activation consistent with early life formation." Luma did not move. "Repeat," she said. The symbols changed, showing a small cluster of energy forming deep within her body. It was fragile, barely there, but unmistakable. Life. This was impossible. Virelians did not reproduce by chance. It required complex rituals, long preparation, and specific biological alignment. Touch alone could not do this, not with any known species. Yet the timing was undeniable. The handshake. Luma closed her eyes. Her breathing slowed, but her thoughts raced. If this information reached the high circle without context, the reaction would be severe. Her people valued control, understanding, and certainty. This was none of those things. "Can this be stopped?" she asked. "Termination is possible," the system answered, "but risks unknown consequences due to incomplete data regarding the trigger species." The trigger species, humans. Luma dismissed the display and stood. Her legs felt steady, but her mind was anything but. Somewhere on Earth, the human male who had greeted her was likely unaware that his simple gesture had altered her life and possibly the fate of two civilizations. She ordered full secrecy. Back on Earth, Noah sat alone in a quiet room, staring at his hand. The tingling had faded, but something else had taken its place. A strange sense of unease, like forgetting something important. He rubbed his palm against his sleeve and laughed softly at himself. "Get it together," he muttered. That night, as Noah slept, he dreamed of stars. Not distant points of light, but vast oceans of darkness filled with slow-moving shapes. In the dream, something reached toward him, not with hands, but with need. He woke suddenly, heart pounding. Across the stars, Luma stood before a secure communication chamber. Only the highest authorities of her people could receive this call. She hesitated before activating it. She was an ambassador, a symbol of her people's judgment. Now she carried something that defied their understanding. The screen lit up. Faces appeared, calm and sharp-eyed. "Report," one of them said. Luma took a breath. "There has been an unexpected biological event," she said. "It occurred during first contact." The faces leaned closer. "Clarify," the voice demanded. Luma placed a hand over her abdomen, a gesture that meant protection in her culture. "I am carrying new life," she said. "The trigger was human." Silence followed, not the respectful kind, the dangerous kind. On Earth, Noah stared out of his window at the night sky, unaware that far above him, lines were being drawn, fears were rising, and the smallest spark of life was about to set the galaxy on edge. The handshake had ended. The consequences had only begun. The news of the event had not yet reached the humans, but in the Virelian high circle, panic moved quickly. Their halls were filled with light and sound, but for Luma, it all felt distant, almost like watching shadows through glass. She walked beside her attendants, every step measured, every motion controlled. Yet inside, a storm raged. They called her into the main chamber. The leaders of the Virelians were present, their faces showing a mixture of surprise and fear. Luma could feel it like vibrations through the floor, an instinctual warning of judgment. "Ambassador Luma," said the council leader, his voice steady but cold, "explain the nature of the incident on Earth." She took a deep breath, the weight of her revelation heavy on her chest. "During first contact, while greeting a human named Noah, I experienced an unexpected biological event. I am carrying new life. The trigger was human." A murmur passed through the council. Some covered their mouths, others narrowed their eyes. A younger counselor leaned forward, whispering rapidly to his neighbor, but the words did not reach Luma. The council leader raised his hand, silencing the room. "This is unprecedented." "Are you suggesting that a human touch created life within you?" Luma nodded. "It was not intentional. The human did not know. It was a simple greeting, nothing more." One of the older leaders shook his head. "This is a violation of our understanding of biology. The implications are dangerous. Earth must be quarantined. The human must be detained." Luma felt her jaw tighten. She had anticipated this reaction. "Detaining him would be wrong," she said firmly. "He is unaware. He is not responsible. If harmed, it will be considered an act of war." The room fell silent again, tension thick enough to feel. The council debated quietly, their words sharp, but Luma felt the pull of something larger. The child inside her responded to her stress, sending tiny pulses through her system, reminding her that the life growing there was fragile but real. "There must be precautions," said another voice, younger, more curious. "But we cannot rush to judgment without understanding. This human may be the first of a new kind." The debate continued, voices rising and falling. Luma remained calm, though each second felt like an hour. Finally, the council leader spoke again. "You will maintain secrecy. No one may know, not even the humans' own people. We will study this event. No action may be taken until we understand it fully." Luma bowed slightly. "Understood." Back on Earth, Noah returned to his home, unaware of the storm his simple gesture had caused. He tried to focus on ordinary tasks, making coffee, tidying the small apartment he rented, even listening to the distant sounds of city life. But something felt off. The sky seemed darker, the air heavier. A faint unease tugged at him, the sense that something unseen was watching. That evening, as he stared at the stars, he felt an unexplainable pull. His mind drifted back to the summit, to the moment he had shaken Luma's hand. He did not understand why, but he could not stop thinking about it. Thousands of kilometers above, aboard Luma's ship, a private chamber was prepared for monitoring. Her attendants watched silently as she lay down again on the scanning platform. The child inside her shifted slightly, responding to the calm, protective presence of the humans even across the distance. Medical intelligence processed every signal, every pulse. "The growth is normal but unprecedented," it said. "We do not have records of this occurrence." Luma closed her eyes. Her thoughts traveled to Noah, to Earth, to the possible consequences. If the High Circle learned that humans could trigger such life spontaneously, it could mean fear, isolation, or even destruction. She whispered quietly, more to herself than to the intelligence system, "We cannot let them fear this. It is not meant to be weaponized." Days passed, each one filled with careful observation and quiet reflection. The Virelian leaders monitored, studied, and debated. But the child inside Luma continued to develop in a way no one could predict. Energy readings fluctuated, patterns emerged that were entirely new, yet all showed the growing life was strong, responsive, and inherently human in some subtle way. Noah, still unaware, continued his routines. He spoke to colleagues, laughed with friends, and went about life as normal. Yet the pull of the stars, the sense of connection, would not leave him. In dreams, he saw faint glimmers of movement, shapes that seemed alive and familiar, yet foreign. He awoke often, heart racing, and dismissed it as imagination. Above him, Luma prepared for a critical council session. Her expression was calm, but she felt the weight of responsibility pressing down. The life inside her depended on her judgment. Every action she took could change the course of two civilizations. The council session began with urgency. Leaders demanded answers, demanded explanations, demanded solutions. Luma presented all known data, every detail of the handshake, every biological reaction, every anomaly. Her attendants projected graphs, energy patterns, and simulations. One of the counselors, a strict and traditionalist figure, spoke sharply. "This is dangerous. The human species may pose a threat to all Virelians." Luma held his gaze. "He is unaware of what occurred. This life is a bridge, not a weapon. If we choose to destroy or harm him, we risk provoking something far greater than fear." Another counselor, younger and more open-minded, nodded. "Perhaps we should observe, not attack. If this event is unique, it could teach us much about human resilience and adaptability." The chamber was filled with murmurs, debate rising like waves. Luma remained steady, a silent protector for the life she carried, knowing that the final decision rested not just on her words, but on the perception of all gathered. Far below, on Earth, Noah watched the sky again. The stars seemed brighter, sharper. A small, inexplicable feeling whispered that something had changed, though he could not name it. He did not know that above him, the galaxy debated the fate of his kind, that a life triggered by his hand might determine whether humanity was seen as a threat or a gift. And in that quiet, unseen connection, the first threads of an extraordinary bond were forming, linking human and alien in a way no one could yet understand. Galactic news did not yet reach the general population on Earth, but the ripple effects were already spreading through the stars. Across multiple systems, different species discussed the human incident with Luma. Some feared humans, others were curious, and a few thought that perhaps these beings, so small and seemingly fragile, might hold unexpected power. On Earth, Noah went about his daily life unaware that he had become the center of an interstellar mystery. He walked through streets filled with the hum of cars and chatter of people, oblivious to eyes in distant ships that observed him. Yet the sense of unease remained. Every time he looked at the sky, he felt a subtle pull, a quiet call that tugged at the edges of his mind. In the Virelian High Circle, Luma continued to face pressure. More council sessions were called, and debates raged about humanity's place in the galaxy. Some argued that humans were dangerous, unpredictable, and biologically unstable. Others saw them as potentially valuable allies, species capable of creating connections no one else could. Luma spoke with careful precision, presenting observations about Noah and humans. She emphasized their resilience, their adaptability, and their unique capacity for responsibility and empathy. Her words were received with a mixture of skepticism and awe. The child inside her responded subtly, energy pulses that hinted at intelligence, sensing the tension around it. Meanwhile, ships from multiple species moved closer to Earth. Observers and scouts arrived, some cloaked, some openly broadcasting messages demanding answers. Humanity had not yet realized it was under judgment. Governments scrambled to maintain normalcy, unaware of the decisions being made in chambers light years away. Noah received a special summons from his government. Confused and nervous, he was escorted to a secure facility, surrounded by officials who spoke in urgent tones but revealed little. The tension in the air reminded him of the summit, but magnified. He was escorted to a room with advanced communication devices, prepared to speak with alien representatives directly. Luma's voice greeted him through the screen, calm, measured, yet carrying the weight of the universe. "Noah," she said, "you must understand. Your species has triggered an event that cannot be ignored, but your intentions were pure. You did nothing intentionally wrong." Noah blinked, unsure what to say. I just shook your hand, that's all." Luma's eyes softened. "Yes, and it was enough. That gesture has consequences we did not anticipate. I carry life that began because of it." Noah's mind raced. He felt a mixture of fear, wonder, and a strange responsibility he could not name. "Life? You mean a child?" he asked cautiously. Luma nodded. "Yes. The child will be human in nature in some ways and something entirely new in others. The council will observe us and they will judge, but I believe humans can be trusted to act responsibly." Noah swallowed. The enormity of what he had done without intention or awareness pressed down on him. "What can I do?" he asked quietly. "Speak for your species," Luma said. "Show them that humans do not act out of fear or conquest. Show them that we can coexist. Show them that we protect life, not destroy it." A new urgency filled Noah. He understood that this was no longer about greetings or meetings. It was about proving humanity's worth, not to themselves, but to the galaxy. Over the next few days, he worked tirelessly with human leaders, preparing his statements for the Galactic Council. He knew that failure could mean quarantine, isolation, or worse. But he also realized that humans had something no other species possessed, a natural instinct to connect, to bond, and to protect. In the council chambers, Luma presented herself and Noah together, emphasizing the human response to unexpected responsibility. The room was tense, every species watching, every mind calculating the risks. When Noah spoke, he did not talk of power or weapons. He spoke of protection, of care, and of the natural human drive to preserve life, even when faced with the unknown. His words were simple, direct, and surprisingly persuasive. The council listened in silence. Luma felt the child inside her respond, pulses of energy that seemed to echo Noah's sincerity. Slowly, she realized that this life was not just a bridge between humans and Virelians. It might also be a symbol of what humans could bring to the galaxy: connection, trust, and hope. As the session ended, ships began to withdraw slightly. Observers maintained vigilance, but fear had eased. Some species remained skeptical, but many had witnessed something new, something unexpected. Humans acting with honor when tested, humans choosing protection over power. Back on Earth, Noah finally exhaled. The tension in his body eased slightly, but the sense of responsibility remained. Somewhere above him, Luma monitored the city from orbit, her own tension mirrored in subtle pulses from the child inside her. For the first time, humans began to understand that they were not just a planet-bound species. They had entered a galaxy full of watchers, and for the first time their actions, small and simple, had far-reaching consequences. The pull between them and Luma, between humans and the galaxy, had begun. And in that pull, the first threads of a future full of possibility were being woven. The ships above Earth moved with quiet precision, ready to respond to any perceived threat. But the humans did not panic. They did not launch massive weapons or strike preemptively. Instead, they focused on protecting lives, building shields around cities, ensuring evacuation routes were ready, and keeping the lines of communication open. Their actions puzzled many watching species, who expected aggression or fear. Noah volunteered to accompany Luma on her ship to the council station, knowing that extremists could see him as a threat. He did not hesitate, understanding that responsibility sometimes required personal risk. His calm determination impressed even the Virelian guards assigned to him, who had never seen a human act so willingly in the face of danger. During the journey, the ship passed through areas where hostile forces tried to intercept them. Their ship was struck once, a violent jolt shaking them both. Noah instinctively moved to shield Luma, placing his body between her and the impact. He felt the shock reverberate through him, but he remained steady, holding her until the danger passed. Inside her, the child reacted. Tiny pulses of energy spread through Luma's body, responding to Noah's protection. It was as if the life within her understood instinctively, even before it had a mind of its own. The sensors aboard the ship recorded strange patterns: energy fields that seemed to adapt to threat, shields that strengthened spontaneously, and a faint connection between human and alien biochemistry. The observers in the council chamber watched in astonishment. They had never witnessed such coordination between species. It was subtle, almost imperceptible, but undeniable. The human instinct to protect had triggered responses in the unborn child that no council member could fully explain. Noah stayed by Luma's side, calming her when small tremors ran through her body. His presence seemed to reassure the life within, a bond forming that went beyond language or culture. Even the Virelian attendants began to notice the unique connection, noting it in their reports with fascination and concern. The council called an emergency session as news of the attack reached them. Leaders from multiple systems debated how to respond. Some wanted retaliation against the aggressors, others demanded immediate containment of the human male. Luma spoke, her voice clear and unwavering. "The human is not a threat," she said. "His species acts out of protection, not conquest. The life I carry is responding to his instinct to safeguard, not to dominate. Any action against him would be a mistake." For hours, debate raged. Evidence was presented, monitored, and analyzed. The child's responses, the human's behavior, and the Virelian observations were all discussed in detail. Slowly, opinions began to shift. Fear gave way to cautious understanding. Skepticism softened into curiosity. As the session ended, the council reached a tentative decision. Earth would not be quarantined. Noah would not be detained. Observers would remain, but aggressive action was deferred. The demonstration of human responsibility had bought time and perhaps a chance for acceptance. Back on Earth, Noah looked up at the stars once more. He felt a quiet sense of accomplishment, though he understood that the journey was far from over. Luma watched over him from orbit, sensing his presence, feeling the connection between them deepen with each passing moment. The child inside her moved again, tiny pulses of life and energy that hinted at intelligence and awareness beyond its stage of development. For the first time, humans and aliens had experienced a bond that transcended species. It was fragile, unpredictable, and powerful all at once. And in that fragile connection lay the seed of a future that could unite worlds, a future that depended not on weapons or fear, but on trust, care, and protection. Noah and Luma remained aware of the stakes. The galaxy was watching, and the life growing between them would soon become a symbol of what humans could offer: courage, responsibility, and the rare ability to protect even when the odds were against them. The journey to the council station continued, each moment carrying new risks and new understanding. And as they moved through the stars, both human and alien sensed that the story was far from over, that the next steps would define the fate of more than just themselves, but perhaps the destiny of many civilizations. The council chamber was silent as Luma entered with Noah. Every eye in the room focused on them, every mind calculating, weighing, and judging. Leaders from countless species had gathered, each with their own fears and expectations. The moment carried the weight of the galaxy itself. Luma stepped forward, her presence calm but commanding. She gestured toward Noah, emphasizing the human who had unknowingly altered the course of events. The council watched in anticipation, sensing that this was more than a simple report. Something extraordinary was unfolding. Noah took a deep breath. His voice was steady, carrying across the chamber. He spoke of humanity's principles, of their instinct to protect life, to care for others, and to respond to responsibility with courage. He did not boast of power or dominance. He spoke simply, truthfully, and with conviction. The child inside Luma pulsed with energy, small waves that responded to his sincerity. Observers noted the phenomenon, the unique link forming between human and alien life. No one could deny it. The connection was real, tangible, and extraordinary. Luma added her own words, explaining the biological anomaly, the life growing inside her, and the role Noah had unknowingly played. She emphasized that the child represented more than an event. It was a symbol of cooperation, trust, and a bond that transcended species. For hours the council debated. Skeptics raised concerns, traditionalists questioned the risks, but slowly a pattern emerged. Even the most cautious leaders began to see the significance. Humans had demonstrated an instinct for protection, an ability to act responsibly in the face of the unknown. They were not conquerors, they were guardians. Finally, the council leader spoke. The evidence is clear. This species, though unpredictable, acts with honor and caution. The human male and his species shall not be punished. Earth is to be recognized as a protected origin world. The child carried by Ambassador Luma shall be observed but shall not be harmed. Relief washed over Luma and Noah. The tension that had gripped the galaxy eased slightly. A new understanding had been reached, one that could change the relationship between humans and the wider cosmos forever. Back on Earth, Noah exhaled deeply, staring at the stars. He realized that the galaxy now watched them differently, not with fear, but with cautious respect. The decisions made in that chamber would shape humanity's role in the universe for generations. Luma returned to her ship, feeling the child respond within her. It was a new beginning, a bridge between species, a living symbol of what humans could offer: courage, responsibility, and the rare ability to protect life even when confronted with the unknown. Noah placed his hand gently on the display panel, feeling a faint echo of connection. Across the stars, Luma felt it too. The bond had formed, subtle but unbreakable. Together, they had proven that trust, empathy, and protection could rival the power of weapons and fleets. As the council chambers emptied and ships returned to their stations, the first threads of a new future were being woven. A future where humans and aliens could stand side by side, where cooperation and care could be stronger than fear and suspicion. And in that quiet connection, the pulse of a new life beat steadily, carrying with it the hope of unity, the promise of understanding, and the knowledge that sometimes a simple gesture, like a handshake, could change the galaxy forever.